Hello, guys. I will talk today about surviving an epidemic, but I'm not going to talk about this virus that's going on, even though it kind of triggered my idea about this video. I will talk about how my family survived at the time epidemic of smallpox in Africa. It was a city of Luanda, which is the capital of Angola, and the um, So let's start. My mother was a professor at the time in the University of Luanda, and it was, I think, 83, 84. And I asked her to kind of write some of her stuff that she remembers. Um, Let me talk just generally what was the timing. It was 84, 83, 84. This country of Angola was in civil war. There were three fractures fighting for the power. It's now, as people know, it's one of the biggest oil producers in Africa. And there was a second part of the war. It was not just a civil; it was a war between Angola and Cuban and even Russian forces, Soviet forces, with South Africa in Namibia. Namibia was a country between South Africa and Angola, so it was kind of a battlefield. Okay. And so practically it was two wars, civil war and war with external opponent, and this way was devastating. So a lot of people were trapped within the city of Luanda, and there was a limit how far you can go outside of the city. So when suddenly the epidemic hit, there was a lot of people dying because they had limited resources, and in the end, there were so many deaths that there was not enough coffins to bury people, so they started burning dead bodies in the streets, and the local population in Angola, they had their own traditions of sending their dead to other world, and they had these rituals of singing, dancing, and so on and so on. So you imagine you have uh, large city with no electricity at night because there was a civil war. They had electricity several times a day, and uh, you have old city, dark city, and then you have fires from burning bodies, and uh, local population, do rituals for the dead. This is what the scene was at the time. And what happens? There was no medicine. There was no. Sometimes consular sections, consulates were closed because of the area unrest of some kind. And uh, sometimes the only help, if you're from Eastern Europe at the time, was if you go to Cuban military base or military barracks in a way that was spread all over the city then, and you can ask for help, and they will help you. By the way, they saved my mother on the other occasion. One day I will write about it and talk about it. But this is the deal, and then of course what you do, you use a home remedies, and key words for home remedies when there are big problem with kind of a virus or some kind of a bacteria in former Soviet Union republics or Eastern European countries. The keyword here is called potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate, it's black tea, and it's a thing that helps people to sanitize places, and not just places, but things in your home, in sometimes up to the level of sanitization in hospitals. Okay, so Usually, what they do is they people drop few grains of this heavy metal into a bucket. This bucket becomes pink. Water becomes pink, and each what you do with this solution is used to sanitize surfaces like door handles, floors. My mother had to wipe floors twice a day. This is what she said. Then there's wiping all the door handles inside the house, even though it can be only you and whoever lives in the same time there. Um, Yet you have to do it because there's always touching, and so this is what is used for. And not just that, you can get a big rug and put this rug next to your entry door, and whoever enters the apartment or a place you live, the the soles of their shoes will, kind of go through the solution and kind of get sanitized at least partially. So the same thing is used on baths or just clean your bathroom and everything with this type of solution. Um, there is no taking of long baths because it's just what's suggested by local doctors at the time. Suggested they just simply take shower and run. Then there is a situation with water. There's no more. There's no use of water from the tap because it can be contaminated and so boil your water for 30-40 minutes. This is what they were doing in Rwanda. Okay, so socializing. Um, at the time when I said, there was an epidemic, they stopped going to visit friends, and friends stopped visiting them. Okay, then there's a um, very interesting, kind of funny maybe. No hugs. Even your friends come. No, friend, let me hug you. No, it was avoided. Okay. Um, then about food. In general, at the time, as I said, the local doctors, because they went several times through this type of epidemics, they had a suggestion to decrease your food intake. And it's done on purpose because you reduce the possibility of consuming corrupted with bacteria food supply. And on the other hand, when you kind of get your body um, re- re- leave more energy for your body to fight in case something happened. Okay. So what was the food as major food? It was actually, my mother spotted several times, that rice, rice, rice. It's rice and grains in general, like rice, buckwheat, or barley. They have the self-containing delivery. It's a bag which has rice or other grains in it, and it has limited contact with people except the handlers of the bag themselves. And not just that, because they're boiled in hot water, they go through a second, kind of a second level of protection, and so you kind of eat it and it helps. Plus, some of them are really healthy. Anyway, the other thing was very popular. It's considered to be green bananas. The Some people consider green bananas to be more healthful than just regular ripe one. Pretty much this is it. The thing. This is what she credits with. She credits what saved her. This is what saved her. They said it saved her, and not just her, but her husband. It was Bulgarian husband at the time. And there's one thing I can add. It's the. It's not just about smallpox at the time, but in general, some countries in Africa, there is a constant malaria problem, and um, so the medicine for malaria sometimes it's really strong, but not just the medicine to cure from malaria. I'm talking about medicine to prevent malaria. It's like a preventive medicine, and some of those medicines can ruin your liver. And the people who worked in Africa they found an interesting solution. It's called activating your liver, but with alcohol. You see, it sounds in a way like you drink a lot, but actually it's not. What the deal there is, it's like less than an ounce of alcohol per day, and they were doing this. For instance, you have a bottle of scotch, and you usually unscrew the top of it and just pour inside and drink it. But even it's not, you cannot even don't feel it what you have. And the this is what it does. It activates kind of your immune system. This is what people believe. It's as if it's homemade remedy. It's not medicinal conclusion or something. 100%. So this is what it is. This is what she considered to be for her major thing that saved her life, and they never get sick. But some of the people who work there did get sick, and Africa in general was a dangerous place. Anyway, you have a good evening, and actually, what I'm talking good evening, it's 1:30 here in Atlanta. You have a good day, and you have a nice week. I hope I will make another video tomorrow.